Hey Guru Nation, welcome back to the clinicaltrialsguru.com. If you're new, welcome, thank you, make sure you subscribe. If you're not new, thank you, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do, alright? What's wrong with you? So, today, we're getting personal, and also like follow me on every social network, email me, here's personal, call or text me right now, 949-415-6256. We're here to help you out, okay? Any way you're comfortable, you're gonna be anonymous. Today's question, we're actually answering someone's question, and it's a common theme I'm getting.
Sure.
From viewers, from people I don't know, from people I do know, from clients, from hopefully future clients. It is, how much money can I actually make in this? And we've done webinars on this, but today's video is more about how to ballpark estimate what a research clinic can generate in its first year with very conservative numbers. We're talking about with one study, with 2 studies, maybe 3 studies in your first year, up to 5 or 6, right? So, ballpark numbers, I know you're not a fan, there are a lot of variables, but people like these.
A lot of variables.
People like these ballpark things because they get an idea. When you don't know something,
Sure.
you'd rather have a ballpark and then you can zoom in when you want.
Fair
and
enough.
we have lots of content for you guys to zoom in on, if you will, right, to keep with that analogy. So, ballpark, I always tell sites, and jump in anytime, correct me.
Will do.
I tend to hyperbolize a lot.
Tend to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. It's in my nature. So what I tell clients is, hey, the easy way, again, ballpark, so everything I say is like plus or minus $500, right? For every patient visit for a normal clinical trial, that's phase 2 or 3 study, for every patient visit, you should receive a gross amount of $1,000 payment from the sponsor for that visit, right? Let's start with that.
Fair enough.
Plus or minus 500, right?
Oh, you can go as much as phase 2 through 3?
Yeah, phase 2 and 3.
Yeah, minimal of 500, I would say. I've seen as high as close to 3,000.
Okay, so 1,000's fair, right?
Yeah, on average, I would say that's what it is.
Okay, good. So that's what I've been telling clients. So now, this is where it gets tricky, right? Let's just go with one study. Let's say it's a phase 2 study, and then we'll do it for phase 3. Phase 2 studies tend to be shorter, so maybe 10 visits over a period of 3 months, right? Because they're not looking for efficacy necessarily, they're looking for safety primarily.
Right.
Right, so phase 2 studies are shorter than phase 3 studies.
And
There's
most individuals enrolled.
Right, on average, and again, plus or minus 5, there are about 10 visits per completed patient for this phase 2 study, right? That's fair so far too, right?
Sure.
See, I'm not leading you guys astray. So far, so good.
Although I would like to make a change to the 1,000. I'd say it's actually the average is closer to 1,300 now.
Oh, so you're actually adding on top of mine. This is rare, very rare.
This is true.
Okay, for those of you that are watching, you know that that's a very rare occurrence what just happened, right? Take a screenshot of this, remember it. So, okay, phase 2 study, about 10 visits on average in a period of 3 months. That's one completed patient visit, right? So now using that 1,000, let's just use 1,000 a visit for simple math, right? So 10 visits, right? That's $10,000 per completed patient, right? Okay, now, typically sites enroll 8 to 10 patients per study.
They're expected to, that's typical.
That's typically the contracted rate, right?
That's what's expected.
From what we've seen. So let's go with 10 again for easy math. So let's say you enroll 10 patients, all 10 finish, which never happens, but let's just assume all 10 finish, right?
And when he says never, it's 10-15% usually drop out at some point.
Correct.
Somewhere in that realm.
Correct. So now, 10 patients completed the study, $10,000 a completed patient, you just grossed $100,000 in what, 3 months for the patient to go through.
4 months. Well, it depends on how long it takes you to.
For the patient to go through, but you're not going to put all 10 patients in that same 3 month period.
Right.
So let's say in a year,
Yeah,
10 patients complete your phase 2 study. Remember, we're just talking about one study here.
yep,
You just made $100K from one study with 10 patients, right? Now, the profit, what you can actually keep.
let's add a little bit though.
Oh, go ahead.
There's additional fees associated with doing a trial. And these vary drastically, so on average, you have a startup fee, it's gonna be on average probably around $3,000. You have document storage fee, on average about $1,000. Pharmacy fees, and you have all kinds of additional fees. I would say in general, you're gonna get, what would you say, $8,000, maybe 10?
Your take home?
No,
Oh, the overhead.
the fees,
Yeah.
just the fees. Like startup fee, pharmacy fee.
Oh, right, okay, extra revenue, yeah. So things that you can invoice for, so
Right.
startup, yeah.
About
Okay.
10 grand.
Right.
And then you also you get paid for screen failures typically. You will fail a few individuals.
Correct, you will screen fail some patients in your quest to get 10 randomized.
And that's usually paid on a 1 to 2, I would say typically you'll see in a contract.
One
So
to two.
every 2 you randomize, you'll get 1 screen fail.
So let's say you get 5 screen fails,
So,
right?
yeah,
With that 10 randomized,
so you get paid for 2.
okay,
So there's another $2,000.
right.
So,
One screen fail paid for every 2 randomized,
mhm.
yeah. So you'd actually get paid for 5 screen fails, because 10 randomized.
Oh, true,
5
sorry,
screen fails,
sorry.
that's
I was
5.
thinking 5, sorry, I was thinking 5, did you say 5 screen fails?
Yeah,
Oh,
5
you
screen
did.
fail, yeah.
My fault. Just dividing
So-
5 by 2, not 10
Right,
by
right,
2.
right. Okay, so there are extra sources of revenue from that one study. Now, the key is, and actually, let's move on to another example, because you'll encounter, most often you'll encounter phase 2 or phase 3 studies when you're a brand new clinic, right? We're not gonna get into phase 1, because that's where millionaires are made. Okay, so now let's go to phase 3. We just did phase 2.
So
in a
what
phase,
was the total revenue?
like 120, let's say.
I think that's correct.
Right, 120K from that one study with minimal, by the way, 10 randomized, 5 screen fail in a year
Mhm.
is not a lot of work.
But you have expenses, so.
You have it, we're gonna get to that, but this is going way too long already. Okay, phase 3, much longer. That could be a 1-year study.
Or even longer.
Right, so, but let's say 1 year, right?
Okay.
We'll keep it simple. But they could go 2, 3, 4 years, or even 5.
Same lifetime.
Lifetime. There, again, everything varies, but
Yep.
for the most part, I'm a big believer in the 80-20 rule. So most will fall into the range of 1 to 3 years for a completed patient in a phase 3 study.
80% of all trials.
Right, because now they're not looking for safety, and they're still looking for safety, but their primary focus is efficacy. Does this drug work over a long period of time?
Mhm.
Right? So, same amount of patients, let's say you randomize 10 patients again, because they typically are the same with your contracted numbers, although you can go with 20, you can go with 5, but let's say it's 10 again, right?
Mhm.
What do these pay for a completed patient? The same amount of visits as those phase 2 studies, right?
Usually there's a few more visits.
Okay, so if that phase 2 study example was 10 visits, this would
Yeah,
be...
like, I would say 2 to 5 more visits.
So let's just say 15 visits.
Sure.
Right? But here's the catch, now they're spread out over a year
Mhm.
or longer.
Mhm.
So, and you're still getting $1,000 per study visit,
Yep.
right? So as you can already see, you're making money quicker with the phase 2 studies. That doesn't mean the phase 3 studies are not worth getting, because they are. But you need more,
More than just one.
right? You need more than just one, or you need to enroll more than you did in that phase 2 study.
Yep.
And typically you can, because luckily phase 3 studies are less excluding of
They're
patients.
competitive enrolling.
They're competitive enrolling, and they're usually easier to find patients because they're looking more for real world patients now,
Yep.
right? So your contracted rate will be 10 on average, 10 patients randomized, but typically you can ask for approval, and you can usually you're granted if your site is good and you haven't had too many deviations, another 10.
Yeah.
Right? So now you're getting comparable results to that phase 2 study, it's just taking you longer,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But it's still good. So let's say you had a phase 2 and a phase 3 study in 1 year, you can gross, and this is just 2 studies, like 220, 250?
I'd say more than that. A little more than that.
300.
250 to 300.
250 to 300 from 2 studies gross. Now the key, and we're gonna do another video on this, the key is now, how do you keep that money, right? And actually, that's a good teaser. We're gonna leave that for next video. Anything you wanna add?
No, that covers it all.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Guru Nation, for watching. Hopefully this helps. Again, just ballpark, but ballpark is what many people need when they're just learning a new concept. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.